What's up, family? It's the one and only Humble Stun like no other, and we back again with another video. Hopefully everybody's having a great and wonderful day. Me personally, I am. It's actually a Sunday, and y'all probably like, what does it matter? You're probably new to this channel, and I'm pretty much gathering around my subscriber base, my view base, pretty much figuring out what you guys want to see. Me personally, I'm pretty much dialing down to a few different topics, right? News, just to keep you guys aware, no matter what age you are. Marvel videos, movies, comments, anything like that. I definitely love and have been watching Marvel for a long period of time. And also basketball. Basketball is pretty much at the top of the only sports I love to watch throughout the whole season, no matter what. And that's what I'm pretty much basing these videos off. So if you're new to my channel, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Put that post notification bell, and when I say comment something that's actually gonna help me, and so I can help you. Whether that's bringing new information to me so I can learn as well, or you pretty much showing love, and I'll show love back to pretty much putting you on to something you should be more aware of. And this video specifically is going to be that type of video where it's actually a news video where I'm going to pretty much keep you aware of some of the things that we're not paying attention to, that pretty much I love to put my opinion on.
In June 2022, American workers made an average of $27.45 per hour. In 1972, the same workers earned an average of $3.88 per hour. A chart like this might make it seem like America has come a long way in terms of wage growth, but when adjusted for inflation, wages have remained virtually unchanged over the last 50 years, with workers today earning just 12 cents more than they did in 19.
And that's the biggest thing I don't understand how this country works. As you guys say that we're all supposed to be, united for all, and all, freedom for all, things of the sorts, the lies they tell us, that we're not all connected. Like, all states don't run on the same minimum wages and things of that sort. And as you see right here, the increase of people actually making the economy work, because if we don't go outside and work that job, this money that's happening, that's getting created for Joe Biden to send over to different places, doesn't happen. If we don't work, the economy doesn't work. You get what I'm saying? And it just shows how much appreciation they do not have for us at all as we work. I worked at a warehouse for probably like a year, and then at UPS for like another 2 years about. And I'm just seeing how the labor and the pay works. Obviously, you get paid a lot more for doing warehouse jobs or driving big trucks, but these jobs don't appreciate you as much as you're supposed to. Like he's saying right here, the wages have not increased at all.
When the average American is not seeing his or her living standards increase over a period of decades, that's something that should concern us all.
With inflation at its highest since 1981, Americans are feeling the pain of slow wage growth. 2/3 of American workers said that inflation has outpaced any salary gains made in the past year.
Now, because of the inflation, I can't even make the monthly payments. So I had to pick extra hours with my elderly care job.
But
it's crazy that she said that, right? It's not really crazy because we know this already, right? And I'm gonna stop pausing the video. We're gonna continue on, but the thing is where you basically you're putting your, obviously it's different ways to make money out here, but a large percentage of people are not going to make money as entrepreneurs or getting their own business, because 80% of businesses do fail. So the people out there actually putting their life on the line and actually living a I guess you say a correct lifestyle of going to a job and coming back home at 9 to 5, or those people are not getting treated fairly at all, and they're pretty much trading your time for money. And then when that time for money at 9 to 5, 40 hours don't work out at the end of the month, at the end of the week, times 4, which is 40 hours, you don't see a big difference with 9.1% of inflation. And it could go even more higher, up to 15%. And that's a scary thing for myself as well. I'm not really worried because I have a lot of faith within what I'm doing and within the signs that have been fed before this has came up. But I'm just seeing people that are in a way worse situation than I am, which there are people out there. They might be your parents, might be your grandparents, that don't want to go back to work, but they have to because of the inflation. Their pension checks aren't that heavy enough to carry them or sustain them nowadays. These things are real life, and I just want to keep you guys aware, right? I'm not here to scare you guys. I'm here to push y'all on to something that you're probably scrolling over this video every time. So let's go.
Economists argue that the concept is merely a myth that politicians use to promote their careers.
Politicians win elections by promising to fix something that is supposedly wrong in people's lives. And so I think there is a bit of a political cynicism and calculus involved in the wage stagnation debate and promises to fix this supposed problem.
So just how real is wage stagnation in America today? And what does it mean for American workers?
Let's see this. They better compare all America. Oh, it's just slow. I'm about to skip this shit.
Wages in America have stagnated since the early 1970s. But it was 1979 when the gap between workers' productivity and wage began to substantially increase.
This is the chart needed.
Between 1979 and 2020, workers' wages grew by 17.5%, while productivity grew over 3 times as fast at 61.
Since the 80s, the economy's changed a lot. We've gone really from an industrial era to a tech era. When you have these big changes to the economy, sometimes the gains are not equally felt, but it really has an impact on everyone's lifestyle and everyone's wages.
Wage stagnation is worse for lower and middle income earners. The bottom 90% of American workers saw their annual wages increase by 28.2% from 1979 to 2020, while wages for the top 1% increased by 179%.
And this is the thing, like, this is why you have some people saying, like, when you have like Elon Musk or different celebrities that have a lot of money, that, oh, you shouldn't push your money. That was only like 500,000 you gave away, things of that sort. They actually look at other people's money as the top 1% and get kind of mad because if they were in a position, you probably give a lot more. And not knowing right now, if you're not aware, this is a whole revolution, a financial revolution within. It doesn't have. I mean, it's really race based because you have the minority, which black people aren't going to be a minority in the future, but minority is obviously poor, some middle class. But now they're trying to take away that middle class right here. They're trying to take away that middle class at all. So you're either going to have a choice to be either the top, or you're going to be the bottom. And that's what it is right now. That's what it's looking like from all of these charts right here. That's what the whole plan is, and that's what they've been doing for the past 20 years. More, probably even longer than that, 30 years. Since 1980 right here. So this is something deeper than what we all can really.
Meanwhile, the top 0.1% saw an astonishing growth of 389.1%.
Real wages, which means that after we adjust them for inflation, has not risen that much since the late 1970s. We know that, on the other hand, inequality did rise over most of this period.
I've been working about since the 90s when I came here. That's about 30 years on and off. And there was very little raise for domestic workers in general. Now, after the 2020 with the inflation, I feel like the income stayed the same. People lost some of the jobs, like in my experience.
Of course.
And we have to struggle to find different or
they come from
secondary
different countries.
job
They have it
or
way worse than
second
people that come
part-time
here
job
that are
just to maintain the
already based in the
monthly
United States.
expenses of our daily living. It's very hard.
Despite causing severe disruption to the U.S. labor market, the COVID pandemic has led to surprising wage gains across industries.
COVID has actually seen a significant acceleration in wage growth, particularly for low-wage earners. This reflects a really serious tightness in the labor market due to excessive U.S. demand, whether it's through the Federal Reserve or through fiscal stimulus payments, but also restrictions on labor supply, immigration restrictions, early retirements, and of course, illness or deaths. So that has driven substantial wage gains.
How to tell whether that's the new reality, and that's why I want to be cautious. It'll change our life forever, and maybe for the better in terms of labor market and wages. We have to wait and see.
Causes of
Automation is one explanation for wage stagnation in America. The McKinsey Global Institute predicts that 45.3 million workers will lose their jobs due to advancements in technology by 2030.
And that's what I'm saying. Just with that statement, let me go back and let me add a picture up. 45.3 million workers will lose their jobs. And as we love these things that come out technology-based and wise, the rich are only getting richer. We know that if you're younger, the rich only get richer, right? They always put themselves ahead and invest in things that are going to pretty much be here in the future. And that's why I'm hearing different jobs that people are going to, like trucking, things of that sort. These things are going to be automated. Everything's going to be automated in the future. Not saying that you can't take advantage of them now, but the plan is to learn something that's going to be here in the next 10, 20, 30 years, because you already have McDonald's. You go on McDonald's, you don't really have to have an employee behind that counter pretty much taking your order. You could go straight up to a machine and have them do it, and they'll make the food in the back. Or they even have products that's going to be probably a big thing where they have robots cooking food. So these things is not like a lie. These things is not like something that you shouldn't believe in. It's something you should prepare yourself in. Me and myself, like I have to really snap into reality, knowing that this stuff could really happen. I could be in the middle of this, as well as put future. I have to tell my nephews, my nieces, my little cousins, things of that sort. Even though they probably like, oh, they don't care about that. They just want to play. They just want to, obviously you have to find yourself for things of that sort. But if you're just doing nonsense, you're not understanding what's going on. This is the reason why I'm putting this on. Like, this is the reason why, and it's nothing more than that. So just get ready.
Will lose their jobs due to advancements in technology by 2030.
8 years.
Automation has been
Minimum.
a really big factor so far in especially manufacturing jobs. So before you build a car, you use machines, but there was a lot of sort of hands-on work with it. Now much more of that is done with machines, and you have to be a lot more skilled to use those machines, which means that a lot of the routine jobs have disappeared, or they're very poorly paid.
Over the next 2 or 3 decades, a lot of economists believe that there's going to be a lot of disruption in the labor market because of new automation. And even college-educated workers, that financial assistance and accounting, and even some parts of medical diagnoses will be done by machines with artificial intelligence. So a lot more of us might be facing that competition from these machines.
Globalization is another reason for wage stagnation, forcing domestic workers to compete against unfair competition.
And in a lot of countries, workers are paid a lot less. So now, particularly if you don't have a lot of very specialized skills, you're competing in that market. And that means that a lot of sort of routine office work and sort of manufacturing work is going to go overseas.
But that isn't all bad news for Americans.
It's important to remember that meant goods got a lot cheaper. It's one of the reasons we had such low inflation since the 80s, and everyone benefited from that. But that said, I think economists like me were a little cavalier that we saw the economy growing and people doing better, not the people who work hurt. And we still don't really have good solutions to help people like that.
Economists suggest that labor dynamism also played a bigger role than expected. American workers today are changing jobs less frequently than before, even though job switching leads to strong take-home pay growth. While some Americans don't switch their jobs out of a desire for stability, others can't because there is nowhere else to go.
That's a fact.
In many local markets,
at Domino's, you can get more than just your favorite pizza. You can get specialty chicken.
See, this is real though. Like, I mean, it's not really real for us, but teenagers leave a lot of jobs. Like, I've seen teenagers leave a lot of jobs, like 4 or 5 jobs in the same year.
Companies use the lack of competition to suppress their workers' wages.
The notion of monopoly power is that you have a local labor market. Let's say that you live in a particular city or in a particular town, and in that town, there is one employer. And given that there is only one employer there, then they set the wages in a way that lower than what you would otherwise expect them to pay. This was a fully competitive market.
60% of U.S. labor markets are considered highly concentrated, meaning a few employers are competing for local workers. Just 10% more workers in an area can lead to about a 1% reduction in posted wages.
I've asked a couple families over the years, that was still before Corona, for a $10 raise, and they just declined. They said they'll find somebody cheaper, and we practically lost the job.
In case after case, you see that government policies were implemented to discourage labor dynamism and to discourage workers from moving to a better job or moving to a better town or city to improve their job prospects. And this inevitably will weigh on wage growth over time.
Companies can also play a direct role in stifling the competition with methods like non-compete agreements. Roughly half of private sector U.S. businesses that responded to the EPI survey said at least some of their employees are in non-compete agreements, meaning some 36 to 60 million private sector workers in America are subject to non-compete agreements.
The non-compete clause would lead you to stay with your current employer, not to move, because that, the consequences would be that it would be more difficult for you to find employment. And if you are less likely to leave the job, you'll be tied in or locked in into the current employer, which means that the likelihood that that employee would keep getting his or her lower earning is much higher. The rationale for it at the very high end of the income distribution of the skill set, but I don't see much of a reason to have it for rank and file employees.
Meanwhile, unions that originally fought for higher compensation have drastically lost its power over the years. Union membership in the US fell from 20% of American workers in 1983 to just 10.3% in 2021.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Workers in unions typically earn higher wages, about 10.2% more compared to similar non-union workers, thanks to methods such as collective bargaining.
In those industries where unionization stayed somewhat high, the effect of market power or monopsony of the employer on wages was muted. So the unions were able to bargain on behalf of the employees even when they were dealing with large employers, so wages were less.
Wait, so Amazon don't have a union? That's why they be slaving them in the warehouses. Wow, that's crazy. And Starbucks, suppose. Hopefully this is not too old. But if this is recent, this is crazy. Amazon and Starbucks, people go to Starbucks every day. Amazon ships out stuff, probably makes millions of dollars each day, regardless of what's happening in the world.
It didn't decline as much.
But some suggest that wage stagnation is an issue blown way out of proportion.
The issue we have in the wage stagnation debate is that a lot of researchers have been using a certain inflation metric, the consumer price index, that really dramatically overstates inflation over time. So if you look at 2 periods, you see that those expenses per CPI have gone up far more than they actually have. That makes it seem like your wage increase is much smaller than it really actually is. You're actually able to buy a lot more with your nominal wage than these researchers say you can. So that's why most researchers, including the Federal Reserve, like to use a different measure of inflation, the personal consumption expenditures, or PCE. The PCE shows a much more moderate.
It's crazy though, because you don't know this already, but the people that spend, the economy moves pretty well, and in these times, money is flowing. Like, it's slowed down, but like flights and things of that sort stay the same at a certain rate or a certain time, obviously. But if inflation goes to 15%, you're gonna see that top 1%, the top 10% pretty much using that flight, you go and buying the most stuff. If you already don't know, Louis Vuitton is up, Dior is up. These businesses that we know cost a lot of money, we're still giving them more money. And they're even upping the prices on us, and we're still buying the same product. So it just shows that regardless of any situation, whether the people that are working a job aren't getting paid enough, the people that have sustained themselves before this has happened are still pretty much taking the bread and putting it into something that's inflated. Them Dior shirts that cost, the Mary shirts, the Mary pants y'all buying, that I have no problem with, because that's what you want to do. That's how you want to live your life, you feel me? That stuff goes up, and you still paying a hefty price for them things.
The last several decades. When you apply PCE to nominal wage growth, you discover much higher wage growth for middle-income workers. In other words, no wage stagnation at all, and in fact, a pretty nice gain over the last 30 years.
Focusing on broad national data over individual experiences can create another issue.
They see, the percentage of low-wage professions has increased, therefore, we have wage stagnation or decline. What they don't do is they don't actually look at the people in those professions and what their wages have done over time. So, for example, you can have someone who is a janitor who works for 30 years and actually made substantial increases in wages and earnings over that time. That would be lost if you just look at janitors overall.
Okay.
I think it is technically a myth, and I think it is overblown. To say that people aren't better off than they were in the 70s is just patently absurd. I think everything about our lifestyle and our living standards are higher, and even our real wages are technically higher. But I think there is something to the fact that wages aren't growing as fast as they used to for most people. So people don't feel like they're equally sharing the same prosperity. And I think that is a problem that's leading to a lot of social unrest.
Legislation could help solve some of the biggest issues causing wage stagnation in America.
There is a limited amount that we can do through policy.
Don't rely on the government to handle situations for you. Sometimes you have to take things to your own hands. Like create a business, like create a job for yourself or create a job for others, things of that sort, because the government's not going to do it. We have to do it ourselves. And as you know, a lot of people that have big businesses have been given money from family members or people that have basically a large sum of money that is going to give it to you because you have a plan on how you want to go about what you want to do in your life. That's how big companies are made. Amazon was made like that. Just one example. There's probably plenty of more examples that's still creating that environment where they have a big company that's in the top 1%, like Jeff Bezos.
When you have big changes in technology, globalization, forces like that, but policy can matter a lot.
For instance, things like those non-competes. I think that's adding to wage stagnation. And, you shouldn't have such a non-competes, particularly for low-skilled jobs.
We could pass legislation to make it easier for workers to unionize. There was a bill called the PRO Act, Protect Our Right to Organize, that the House of Representatives has already passed. It's dead in the water in the Senate.
I think we also really need to embrace more of the gig market, which so far I feel like we're trying to sort of pretend doesn't exist and make it sort of a lower tier part of the labor market. But as I said, if we sort of allow those platforms to offer health insurance, then I think it could become better quality jobs that are more dynamic and let people get more of the upside risk and not just the downside.
Not only just money,
the rise of remote work could also be beneficial to
like
wage growth in local markets.
Some employers are very happy to have their employees working remotely. In a way, if you can work remotely, at least, when you think about monopsony power, you are diminishing the monopsony power of an employer, because that if you are a talented person, even if you are in a small town where there's only one or two large employers, you can work for a global firm that can be based in any other part of the world or the US and work remotely and earn a higher wage.
Achieving a fair wage for all Americans is vital in ensuring the success of the American economy.
I'm gonna leave it just like that, right? That's the end of the video. This video is long enough itself anyway. This is my spreading my light to you guys. So if you like this video, for me, keep bringing you information like this. I'm not gonna click every CNBC video, but videos like this, I can connect to you guys because I've worked in the job market before. I am at the moment working on myself to become a business or learning skill sets, things of sorts that's gonna help me in the long run, because I know the full picture of what this world is gonna become in the next 8 to 10 years. And if you're in college right now, make sure you don't only focus on that one skill. You know what I'm saying? Because them skills become automated. Like I'm saying, like fast food restaurants. Like, make sure if you indulge in anything, make sure you do it with your heart, and you know that's gonna be here for the next 10 to 20 years, because the world is getting even more advanced with the technology, and the technology is really taking over, in a sense of where the direction of this world and pretty much lifestyle of how everybody's going to operate. So if you like this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to catch you on the next video. Hopefully you like the video. And comment down below. And I'm going to see y'all next time. If you stay to this part right here, you definitely family. And when I get to 100 subscribers, we're going to do something special for the people that are the first ones to tap in. So if you came back again to this video, I'm going to see you next time. Peace out. Stay humble.